Good evening or good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Talking Packers with Steve. I'm your host, Steven. Tonight I'll be going over my grades, my draft grades for all 32 NFL teams. Giving my thoughts on their on how I thought they did in the draft. But obviously, like I said, grades, my favorite picks or best picks, whatever you want to call it, for each team as well. Going through their grades. The Packers, of course, will be last. Um, I might put the Buccaneers and Buccaneers, Raiders, and Houston Texans near the end as well, where I know people, fans of theirs that might not be able to join in the episode until later. So whether they're joining live or just watching in general, so I don't know. Maybe they'll be first, maybe they'll be last. We'll just see how things go. But like I said, that's what I want to talk about overall. I don't know if my banner is working. If you can see my lower third there, but you can follow me at talking_Packers, and you can check out the fan page of Talking Packers with Steve. It's not just a specific Packers show; it's an NFL podcast that talks about all 32 and not just one. So all NFL fans are welcome to join in an episode. Excuse me, all NFL fans are welcome to leave a comment, let me know what you think. Here at the end of this episode, of your thoughts on my thoughts of your team's draft and the grade I gave it and my favorite one. Maybe your favorite one as a fan of that team is different from the one that I have, because obviously I'm seeing it from the outside, looking in for obviously 31 of the 32 teams, and then the Packers, following on a regular basis. So I guess there you go. Excuse me. All right, we'll start with we'll go from the bottom to the top. We'll go from last place, 32nd, in my grades, all the way up to the team I think did the best. Make it suspenseful that way. I don't know. But 32nd, San Francisco 49ers, a D minus. Um, just I don't think they did what they're supposed to do. I guess in that way. But my favorite draft pick, or the one I think was best for them, for their whole draft process through the 2016 NFL draft, Will Redmond, cornerback from Mississippi State. 31st, I have the Indianapolis Colts. I think I'll just go through these and then go over some. Indianapolis Colts, I gave them a D for a grade. And T.J. Green, safety from Clemson, is my favorite pick. 30th, the New Orleans Saints, a D. Sheldon Rankins, defensive tackle, Louisville. 29th, the Kansas City Chiefs, D+. Eric Murray, cornerback from the University of Minnesota. 28th, Team Boy TV Live's host and Carolina Panther fan, Big Q. His Carolina Panthers are 28th, C minus. And Zach Sanchez, quarterback from Oklahoma, being my favorite pick of their draft. 27th, North Cam, his Seattle Seahawks. I have a C minus. And Nick Vanette, tight end from Ohio State, for his team. 26th, a member of T-Boy TV Live and his own stuff Get With It Sports class, is Denver Broncos, C minus. Paxton Lynch, quarterback Memphis. Obviously, that was the biggest need that they had. There you go. 25th, Tennessee Titans, C minus. Derrick Henry, running back Alabama. 2 years in a row, the Tennessee Titans get the Heisman Trophy winner in the draft. I guess good for them for that. 24th, Philadelphia, EDP, Archfiend, and others. Their Philadelphia Eagles. Give them a C, solid C. And obviously, Carson Wentz, cornerback, North Dakota State University, being their best pick and my favorite pick for their team. And as I say favorite pick or best pick, I mean, the best fit for them and the one that I think, out of all the draft picks, has the most potential to do great for the team. So it's not always going to be the first round pick or their first picks. 23rd, Pittsburgh Steelers, C grade, Sean Davis, linebacker from Maryland. 22nd, Dallas Cowboys, C plus. Ezekiel Elliott, running back, Ohio State, for obvious reasons there. 21st, the Arizona Cardinals at a C plus. Robert Nketiah, defensive tackle, Mississippi. I think for him, even though he fell in the draft further than I thought or expected him to fall in the first round, I think it was maybe his destiny, or maybe it was supposed to happen. Maybe it just, it is what happened. Falling to the Arizona Cardinals, a franchise like that, with the head coach, as you guys have heard on my show last year during the 2015 season, about how glad Bruce Arians was hired by the Cardinals, and how I think Arizona at some point might be not only going to a Super Bowl, but winning a Super Bowl, and all that stuff. And with Bruce Arians as the head coach and the management staff above Bruce Arians in the front office, I think that is the best fit for individual like Robert Nketiah, for enough reasons. So hopefully it works out there, but you never know. 20th, the San Diego Chargers, C plus. Joey Bosa, defensive end, Ohio State. 19th, I have the Miami Dolphins at a C plus. Xavier Howard, quarterback from Baylor, being my favorite pick for that team. 18th, the Cincinnati Bengals, a B minus. Andrew Billings, offensive tackle, Baylor, individual that I thought, again, maybe should have gone the first round for reasons unknown. He slipped later rounds, and I think Cincinnati got a steal there, definitely. Got a first round talent in the deeper rounds because of other extenuating circumstances, and I think, as I said, he's my favorite pick for that team because I think they're the best to make Cincinnati great again. But we'll see. 17th, 17th, the Houston Texans, and a shout out to the Houston Texans cheerleading squad. I know I've worked with a couple of them on the Twitter or on Twitter. But they're Houston Texans B minus. Braxton Miller, wide receiver, Ohio State, former quarterback. And he's with his quarterback skills and wide receiver, and obviously trying to transition to be wide receiver. I think with that could fit there in Houston, be perfect. I mean, you got your quarterback now, Brock Osweiler. You got Braxton Miller. You also get Will Fuller in the first round. Houston looking strong. 16th, Atlanta Falcons B minus. Deion Jones, linebacker, LSU, my favorite for that team's draft. 15th, division rival Detroit Lions, B minus. Alshon Robinson, defensive tackle, Alabama. Now I had him, if you remember from my episode, previewing the draft and giving my predictions, I had him going to Louis T. of the Louis T Network, my friend over there. I had him going to the Redskins. Alshon Robinson going to his team, but in the end he goes to Detroit. I think good fit. Like I said, obviously he's my favorite and best pick Detroit made through the entire 2016 draft. 14, a member of Team Boy TV Live. Excuse me, JB. His Baltimore Ravens given a B. Ryan Stanley, offensive tackle, Notre Dame. Be my best pick. 12th, Cooter and Michael Owens, New York Giants. B. Eli Apple, of course, quarterback, Ohio State. 11th, Albert of Main Event Marks. His New York Jets, I give him a B. And Christian Hackenberg, quarterback of Penn State, be my favorite pick for them with their quarterback situation going on there. Plus, I've always been a big fan of Christian Hackenberg, even though he was in the Big Ten as a rival of my Wisconsin Badgers. So it doesn't mean he wasn't good, and I acknowledge that and being a objective media individual. I see that, respect that, and for the Jets, they got a great pick. And number 10, us, the Green Bay Packers. Obviously, I'll go a little bit more into depth with the Packers picks, but here, B plus and Blake Martinez, quarterback Stanford. My favorite pick, and a fellow Hispanic individual. Happy Cinco de Mayo to him and anybody else that celebrates here in the United States. Number 9, Jay, I'm talking WWE with Jay, is Cleveland Browns. B plus, draft grade. And Joe Schobert, linebacker from the University of Wisconsin, would be my favorite pick and best fit for them. And 8th, Minnesota Vikings getting an A minus. Martin Rozier, wide receiver from Germany. I mean, it's great hearing stories like his and him not playing collegiate down in the States, playing in Germany, maybe talent not being equal to what it would be in college and college football in the States, but still, he, man amongst boys sort of situation, and now at least getting the opportunity to play in the NFL. So I'm very happy he got that chance. Yes, even though it's the rival Vikings, still respect the Vikings, respect their organization, their team, and all that other stuff. Because as I see it, me as in my fandom, which I'm sure is different from other people in their fandoms, whether you're Packer fans, Viking fans, Patriot fans, or Giant fans, but in my fandom, I respect all 31 other teams, even division rivals. If I have a friend or if I know someone that's a fan of the other three teams, which for me are the Chicago Bears, Detroit Lions, Minnesota Vikings, maybe we'll have friendly banter back and forth during the season or when our teams face each other twice those 2 times each year. But I do it in a respectful way. I don't, you know, take it too far in the back and forth and the quote unquote disses. But that's just regular fandom. I don't go too far in that, and I don't want I want those teams at their best. I guess I can say I want them at their best. I don't want players injured and out when we face them. I want them at their A game. I want our team, obviously the Packers, at their A game when we face them because then we really know who the best team is in general in that given day. Okay, but I don't know. I don't know if I explained that correctly, but I mean, different way of handling the fandom and different way of seeing it. And the Vikings, like I said, did very well in their draft. That's where they got the A minus in general. But picking up the player from Germany, something as well. Number 7, Joe of the Joe Cronin Show. His New England Patriots, A minus. Cyrus Jones, quarterback from Alabama. Number 6, the Washington Redskins, again an A grade, and that's Louis T of Louis T Network is Washington Redskins, and Josh Doctson, wide receiver TCU, be my favorite pick there. Number 5, the Buffalo Bills, A grade, Reggie Ragland, linebacker Alabama, one of the players that I know, a few others that I've seen from watching either on YouTube or hundreds on ESPN, NFL Network, wherever. Um, some were suggesting him going to the Packers to our teams in round one, or that point, but Buffalo picked him up in the next round, second round. Great steal, great asset. I mean, Shaq Lawson as well, Clemson, Rex Ryan and his relationship with Clemson University there, because his son there, so stuff like that. So very pick up for Buffalo, and it's good to see for me, especially as you'll hear from the 4 teams above the Buffalo Bills, the top 4, and Buffalo making the top 5 here, at least on my list in the draft grades. Because these are all teams that are trying to turn around. These are all teams that I want to see not just turn around for one year, but turn around for the good and greater good for their NFL franchises and their own fan bases while they're at it. Obviously, that's what all 32 teams are doing. I'm not saying they're not, but I'm saying these ones, the former um, basement dwellers or whatever you want to call it, whatever adjective you want to stick on there, but being at the bottom of the NFL radar in a way, especially NFL playoff radar, these teams moving on up and slowly getting there and improving each and every year. And you never know, this year could be the year for most of these teams, like the Buffalo Bills, and as I'll be talking about the Raiders, Buccaneers, Jaguars, Browns, even Minnesota Vikings are already in the midst of moving on up and improving as a team. and teams like that, that I feel next year could like the Minnesota Vikings, Kansas City Chiefs, two teams that have been improved in the last couple of years. Arizona Cardinals with Bruce Arians now being on that level, and now hopefully they can stay on that level. But now I hope for the Los Angeles Rams, Raiders, Buccaneers, Jaguars, and Bills and others that I just talked about. Hopefully, things definitely can be turning around and turning around quickly for their teams and making the playoffs, making a stand and making their fan base proud. Cleveland Browns as well. Come on now. I know NFL Nation, as in the general NFL fan base, likes to diss on the Browns for whatever reason. But hey, they're making improvements and they're making strides, and maybe they'll be improving as well. Now it's not all going to happen in one year. I'm not going to say it is, but remember what I said earlier, and I'll probably say it again when I do my next episode, which won't be probably until either around. I might do an episode around the time of the Hall of Fame game, the start of the preseason, because Brett Favre going to the Hall of Fame and might be talking about that. Maybe, but if not, my next episode will be um, the Thursday before Week One game, or actually that Thursday of the Week One game. Giving my predictions for Week One, my season predictions, playoffs, Super Bowls, and everything. And I might say it again there, whereas I'm going to say it here, but my prediction already is that these four teams, the Jacksonville Jaguars, Lindsey Bell, who is now a member for a second year in a row of the Tampa Bay Buccaneer cheerleading team. Congratulations, Lindsey, as I already congratulated you on Twitter. And if you would like to follow Lindsey, follow her at Lindsey Bell on Twitter and check out her vlogs on YouTube. I think it's youtube.com/Lindsey Brooks. Lindsey Brooks Bell. I don't know the URL because I get emails every time her vlogs or every time she uploads a video. So I just go go from there. So I don't go from there to watch it. Um, but anyways, her Tampa Bay Buccaneers, so the Jaguars, Buccaneers, Oakland Raiders, and the Rams. My prediction is those four teams will be making the playoffs. Two from the NFC, two from the AFC. It kind of worked out that way. I did not plan it that way. But those four teams, I predict already that are going to make the playoffs in 2016. And if they don't, you can come back to this episode or the many others in the past between the end of Super Bowl 50 and the road to, when we get to the playoffs, to the road to Super Bowl 51, that I was dead wrong, or maybe I got one right, or I hit the jackpot and I got all four predictions right. I hope so, because I hope for their fan base that that's the case. I really do, especially the Jacksonville Jaguars and Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Those two are certain out of those four with the Raiders and Rams. I hope and I predict we'll be making the playoffs. But anyways, continuing on, number four, the Los Angeles Rams A plus grades. Now, 1 through 4 all have A pluses. So first we have the Los Angeles Rams. Jared Goff, quarterback. Cal, he was the right choice in the end to be the number one overall pick. I mean, Cali Boyd staying in California, going to the Rams, Rams moving to Los Angeles. It was a perfect storm, almost like a destiny, like I was talking about earlier with Robert Nkemdiche going to the Arizona Cardinals. Well, Jared Goff be part of this NFL draft. The year the Rams go to Los Angeles, and the Rams then being going up to get that to be the number one to get that number one pick because technically it was originally taken by the Tennessee, or I should say earned by the Tennessee Titans, the number one overall pick for the 2016 NFL draft. And the Rams coming out there and picking up Jared Goff. Now we just hope, and fans of the Rams hope that moving forward, that could be their team and their destiny could be not only making playoffs, but maybe one day winning another Super Bowl in the Rams' history. As as that fan base should, all fan bases should feel that way, at least at the beginning of the season. And I'm serious about that. Whether you're Louis T, of the WT Network is Washington Redskins. Lindsey Bell, um, her Tampa Bay Buccaneers. As you know, obviously she's cheered for them all last year, now cheering this year. But her Tampa Bay Buccaneers, you know, each and every year she feel, hey, this could be our year. This could be our year to make the playoffs. This could be our year to do this, maybe the Super Bowl. It's not a bad thing to actually have pride in your team. And that's what fandom is. That's what being a fan is, at least in my opinion. If you disagree, that's fine. I respect your opinion. But but no matter what team you cheer for, and no matter how they're perceived by the NFL and the NFL fan base, when you get into the new year, especially after the NFL draft, you should always feel confident for your team and think things can turn around. Because you just never know. You just never know. Hey, you never know. The Super Bowl could be the Jacksonville Jaguars versus the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I don't remember where Super Bowl 51 Super Bowl is going to be located, but I'm sure Lindsey Bell and the cheerleading squad there and the Jaguars Roar cheerleading squad, those two um, teams, squads, I don't think they would mind going to the Super Bowl location. Obviously, the players and the teams and the organizations and the fan bases wouldn't mind that either. So you just never know. Cheer for your team, root for your team, stand by your team. Because I know Cleveland fans. I know Jay. I'm talking WWE with Jay here on YouTube. He's Cleveland Browns. He's stuck with them thin and thin, through thick and thin. So loyalty to your team. I'm not saying you have to. It's just my thoughts on that. That's just how I am, I guess. If you want to change team loyalty, or if you want to, if you're giving up on a team because they've stunk for so many years, that's your prerogative. That's your that's your right to do so. I'm not gonna think less of you or whatever. That's just that's how you operate, and that's fine. So I'm not trying to say this to make people think that's how they're supposed to be as fans. No, because I'm not. I'm not the end all be all for anything, really. I'm just a guy here on YouTube that likes to talk sports and in a way part of the media and sharing my thoughts. But Oakland Raiders next, number 3. Connor Cook, quarterback, Michigan State. He could. I mean, I know they're fine at quarterbacks, but I just thought that was a great pickup for Oakland in general, especially maybe even more so for Connor Cook being in an Oakland system and that team with Derek Carr and learning from him and sending out on others. They're in a Raider organization that maybe he might not be the future and he might not be the franchise quarterback for Oakland because I think Derek Carr is, but maybe from there he can get to a point to go to a new team and be their franchise quarterback. You know what I mean? And trade later or however that would work, and be in the situation like Kirk Cousins, former quarterback of Michigan State, now is with Washington Redskins, their starting quarterback and their franchise quarterback as well. Number 2, as I was talking about earlier, Lindsey Bell. You can find her on YouTube with vlogging. Excuse me, and her Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And I have Noah Spence, defensive end out of Eastern Kentucky, be my favorite and best pickup for Tampa Bay. Like I said, obviously they earned that A+ grade because in general their whole draft grade, starting with Hargraves and to the end, solid work. And number 1, the Jacksonville Jaguars and Miles Jack, UCLA, my best pick. And the way them because I had Miles Jack going to Jacksonville, but I had it in the first round there when they picked her high in the first round. Then maybe that's when he'd be picked up, and obviously that wasn't the case. He got lucky, he fell, and he was still there for Jacksonville to pick up when we got into the second round. And in the end, he became a Jaguar. So they start off hot. And they finished hot, and that's when I get the applause because I think they just did the best, and the way they had their draft board, the way everything fell into place for them wanting to get, them getting the players that for sure they had targeted to draft in those rounds. I mean, their third round pick might have been a little bit of a stretch for me, but that's their guy that they wanted to get. That's the guy they got. So in the end, I'm being true to their draft board and getting the players that they wanted in each and every round. It seems. Then again, any franchise could spin that and say that's who we had number one on our board each round, of course, to not alienate the player or piss off the fan base. But I don't know. I believe the Jaguars in the way that that team's being run and owned, just like Tampa Bay and Oakland. Well, things are turning around for those three and others like I talked about earlier. Or we can keep it up. Like I said, my bold prediction for the playoffs. I hope I hit the jackpot and get them all right because that would make me happy. I mean, let's just put it this way. I'd be happy if I hit the jackpot, get all four of those teams right. They're in the 2016 NFL playoffs, and the Packers are out of the playoffs. I'd still have a smile on my face because those four made it. hmm I mean, I might not be, like a gleaming kind of smile because the Packers are out of the playoffs and not in the playoffs, but I'd still be happy. I still smile because of it because those four teams, not only would they have earned it getting to the playoffs, and maybe in a lesser way deserving it, but that's how much I hope that to be happening. I hope wanting that prediction to be correct, and not just half correct, not just one correct, but all four correct. But we'll see. We'll see as the season goes, and if the Jaguars and the Buccaneers, them being the top two here on my draft grades, not only hitting out of the park in the draft, but starting off hot in the season, building on from there, and getting to the playoffs, getting that spot. Now, I'd be really happy if all four teams make it to the playoffs and the Packers are in the playoffs. Obviously, that would be the ideal. But even if those four make it, Packers don't, I'd be happy too. But like I said earlier, and if you missed it, you're welcome to watch the entire show after it goes archived and is on my channel. But I think Tampa Bay and Jacksonville being the two teams that I hope the most to make it to the playoffs this upcoming season. I just I don't know. Like I said, Jacksonville hit it out of the park. Especially getting Miles Jack in the second round. Miles Jack, like I said, I had him in my mock draft in the first round to Jacksonville, and the way that they just stay to the draft board, go, each and every single round, the players that they want. Like I said, maybe third round might have been a little bit of a reach, but hey, if that was their guy, if that was the one they were looking for, then obviously that's who they got, and I can't really question it. But even as a Packer fan, like I said, the Vikings improving the team. They got an A minus grade here today from me. And it was really nice to see that kid from Germany being drafted in the NFL. I know when I heard his story, I might thinking maybe it would be kind of cool, just in the story sense for him to come to Green Bay. But with our wide receiver situation, it might not have made sense in that way either, because then he might not, quote unquote, stand a chance even to make the team because of our depths of wide receivers here in Green Bay and situations in Minnesota, maybe in Atlanta, maybe in other teams like that. Good spot for him to be. But I'm glad he got drafted. I hope it works out. And obviously, I'm gonna be cheering for him and hoping he makes the team. I mean, that would be cool as well. But with that said, I don't think there's anything, at least for me, anything left to say with the draft. Give my grades and thought. Oh, and then the Packers, obviously, like you're saying, Blake Martinez. Um, Fellow Packer fans can follow him on Twitter at um, Big Blake 4. think it's Big underscore Blake 4 or something to that extent. Either way, it's on the top of my following list. But I may have an opportunity to interview um, one or two or whatever of the or more, who knows, uh, of the draft picks for the Packers. Might be able to have one-on-one interviews with a couple of them, so that'd be kind of cool. And hopefully that can happen. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But um, I'm in contact with them and seeing if that will be a true possibility. But I'm just waiting here because someone's, or at least someone said he's gonna be joining the show. Let me know. Mhm. Trying to think if there was anything else left to really. I know Johnny Manziel being in the news for his own situations. That being a cautionary tale for everybody going to the NFL. I mean, him being super hyped when he came out of college, going to the Browns, thinking that he definitely could be the savior for the Browns and to be to be their true franchise quarterback and the team or the guy to take his team to the playoffs at some point. I'm sure all Browns fans would have wanted that. I know Jay should have, would have. But now being in the situation that he is, him even being let go off his agent, that should show how bad it really was. And usually it's the players that get rid of the agents, not the agent that get rid of the players. Because usually, at least in my opinion or thinking, that the agent can really deal with really any player. Because them being spin machine and do whatever they can to help that player and that player as much money as they can to make that commission. It's usually the player if he wants to deal with an agent. That's why it's usually the player that gets rid of the agent because he does not think that that agent has the best has his wants or needs best in mind sort of thing. Than the opposite around. So the situation, the fact that the agent got rid of Johnny really showed how dire his personal life and situation there is. Wish it would have worked out. Wish that he could get the help that he needs for his situation, and maybe our NFL team will give him a chance again in the future, one of these future years. I doubt it. You never know. Just like to be quite honest, would want Tim Tebow to get another shot in the NFL. But as much as I want that, as a fan of Tim, Mr. Tebow, who another person I'd be honored and love to have as a guest on here on this podcast. But as much as I would want that to happen, being objective and do my job here, journalism here, I don't think so. I think the likelihood of that is low. I mean, it's something that's ever happens in a quarterback situation on a team. Maybe he'll get a try on. I mean, I know he did with Philadelphia last year. He gets signed, but in a tryout. But I would love to see him back on the football field. Maybe not starting quarterback, but at least something. That'd be great. And let's welcome John. How are you doing this evening, John?
Oh, not too bad. Just staying too busy.
That's for sure. Um, what are your, I guess, overall thoughts on the Packers draft here, 2016 edition?
I'm pretty excited. And we got some pieces that we can kind of some jars for the shelf that might make an impact early and kind of give us some insurance for injuries. So
Who do you think out of who do you think out of all in our draft class do you think was our best pick?
I'm pretty excited for was it tackle? Was it Spriggs? What was his name?
Jason Spriggs.
Yeah, Spriggs. Yeah, I'm pretty excited for him. I think we've been pretty notorious and lucky with our draft picks of tackles and things that are pretty consistent and make a pretty big impact. I mean, look at Bakhtiari and those kind of guys that come in and can start games for us and do things that a lot of a lot of guys can't. That's the nice thing about big linemen. I mean, Kenny Clark and those guys is they don't, a lineman's a lineman. If they can play line, they can play line. In the NFL, college, things like that. It's kind of nice. It's a safe pick, but it's things that how many times have we had issues on our offensive line that we we needed more guys. So I'm always happy to see an offensive lineman get taken.
And for me, with doing this draft grades, I gave the Packers a B plus for a grade, and my best pickup for me was Blake Martinez, cornerback from
Yeah, I
Stanford.
really liked him.
Being our being our best pickup, I just think that he would fit the best. I mean, I know what you're saying with the tackle, but I
Yeah.
think with him in his situation, our cornerback situation, I think he would be obviously a great fit for the team. Now, what other teams do you think, off the top of your head, um, did the best in the draft this year?
Um, I only watched the first round, and then I kind of paid attention to just the Packers seconds and thirds and stuff like that, and through the sixth.
Okay.
Um, but I was most intrigued, I think, by the pickup of my. I gotta give a shout out to the North Dakota boy, Carson Wentz. He's only 90 miles from where I live. I'm not an NDSU fan. Go Sioux, but it's still pretty cool to see him get picked up, and I think that's probably the most interesting situation. I don't think that's the best draft pick or anything. I think the Vikings did really well silently. They even got some picks that I thought was kind of surprising. Some of the guys they picked up the German Wonder at wide receiver. That'll be kind of interesting to see how he plays out. That's kind of a feel good story, but I think he could be pretty good. But they just had some solid picks. They really kind of started looking like the Packers in the draft. And I think a lot of teams strive to be like the Packers in the draft, which is maybe I'm tooting our own horn, but we really stick to BAP, and I mean notoriously how we've looked pretty good lately.
Yeah, and I have the Vikings, again with the draft grade. As I went through, I gave Minnesota an A minus, and I have the
Yep.
German kid as my favorite pick because of the story, and I'm kind of
Yeah.
hoping that he does make the team. Kind of
Yep.
cool for that fact, even though playing for the Vikings.
Yeah.
But I think there was another player from North Dakota State as well
There's a tackle, and
that was drafted.
yep, there's a tackle. I think in like the fifth round, and
Yeah,
then there's a tackle or a linebacker that's playing fullback for University of North Dakota. That got picked up free agency by the Falcons. I think they're going to try to make him play fullback or something like that. But that's pretty cool. A few North Dakota boys that got picked up, which is pretty cool.
yeah, I see here at least drafted Joe Haig, offensive tackle,
Hey,
got
that's it.
picked
Yeah.
fifth round by the Indianapolis Colts.
Yeah, it was fifth round. Wow. Something stick with me. Yeah, which is really cool. I think it doesn't happen very often. It's really cool to see. We get a lot of hockey players going pro, but not a lot of football players. So makes me feel good.
Yeah, I know. When I saw Carson Wentz, I thought of you, being there in the Dakotas,
Yep.
because I assumed you were a fan of NDSU.
You.
And those guys
I'm
being,
glad to see their success and see him go pro. That's really cool. But
mhm.
yeah, I'm 90 miles the other way. So
As for me, my top two teams in the draft, and I'll let get your thoughts on this. I have the Jaguars and the Buccaneers. I have the Jaguars and Buccaneers, the Raiders and the Los Angeles Rams getting A pluses, with my top two being Jacksonville and Tampa Bay. Where Jacksonville hit it out of the park, especially with the first two. I mocked that Miles Jack would be picked there fifth overall for Jacksonville, and then they get a steal there in the second round, and still picking up who they wanted to, Jalen Ramsey there in the first round, and then picking up Miles Jack. The third round I thought maybe was kind of a reach, but as I heard, he was their top player on the board, even
oh,
though any GM could spin that. But
yeah,
but Jacksonville, I think, hit it on the park. And again, Tampa Bay, we're starting with Hargreaves the third in the first round, and
yep,
then Noah Spence being the steal in general as my favorite pick of their team. What would you think of that scenario? Do you think Jacksonville and Tampa Bay, do you think they did enough to maybe playoff push?
I think the Jaguars have been a team the last few years that they've been, when you draft high, your team has to get better. I mean that's the philosophy, right? That's the reason. And they haven't been picking bad lately. They've been picking up pieces. They're not trying to hit a home run on a quarterback every time because Bortles looks pretty good. He's the future for them, and they're paying him like that. And so I think by them picking up, defense here, wide receivers here, pieces that they need in the chess set, they're a team that could definitely make a deep playoff run finally. That looks dangerous every year, and they kind of stall out, but Bortles is coming into his own, and they got some chess pieces there that could make them a really formidable team. I think Jaguars have always been a team that I kind of always kind of look leery at. I mean, the Packers play them, I mean, we're going to go get nice and sunny, and I think that um, people look at that like I read my Ask Vic column, and he's a Florida guy, and he talks about the Jaguars and the Dolphins and stuff, and teams that people kind of look past, but they've been drafting pretty well lately, and they're kind of teams to look out for, especially in that hot weather in the early in August and September.
Yeah, and I don't know if you've heard this before, but I've said it, to people already. For my bold prediction for the 2016 playoffs, Jacksonville, Tampa Bay, Oakland, and the Rams, I have as a bold prediction all four of them making
Ooh,
the playoffs. And I even said earlier in this broadcast that I would have a smile on my face if I hit the jackpot to get all four of those right.
yeah,
Even the Packers not making the playoffs, because I think those four teams and their fan bases and everything, growing as they've been growing, especially Jacksonville, Tampa Bay, to get to the playoffs, and then Oakland and Los Angeles as well. I think that would be awesome in a way for that to
yeah,
happen.
yeah.
Ideally, it would
I
be
think
nice to
it's
have all four of them and the Packers, but I just think this could be their year for all four of them. Not with the draft, but just in general and how they're growing. That could be the case. So it certainly would be more the case for Jacksonville and Oakland, but
yeah.
still Tampa Bay and Los Angeles,
LA
especially
would be
Los
that's their
Angeles.
pipe dream. That would be make the playoffs first year in LA. That obviously all comes down to Goff and if he starts and how well he can do and what his ceiling is, how well he can pick the game up. I mean, the best part about going to the Rams, if I had to pick, if I was Wentz and Goff, if I had to choose a team, I would have liked to go to LA. The run game, the big city, it's a warmer climate. You're going to get a new stadium. You're going to get all that glitz and glam, but you have a solid defense and a great running game, and you have the pieces there on offense. They're just looking for the guy to get in the spot. So I definitely, if I had to choose a team, it would have been LA, and they look like it's obviously it's all on Goff and how he can play. But obviously he can play, and he got picked. Is he worth that extra 25 million that they got that game? I don't know. I might be biased saying Carson Wentz might have been a better pick. I think Goff is more polished and ready. He got to throw, four times as much as Carson Wentz did. But I'm excited to see how both those guys play. I think hopefully Wentz gets to sit a little while and doesn't have to play right away. That's the only thing I feel bad for Goff is he's probably going to get thrown right into the frying pan, and we'll have to see how he does. But with the solid run game and everything, I think if he can pick his game up, week game 5, game 6, week 6, they could make a deep run.
Yeah, so I was talking about the quarterbacks, like the pressures from their franchises or from their fan bases of wanting these guys to start, especially ones that picked up here in the first round. It's still
Yep.
different from ones being in later rounds like Hackenberg and others, but for
Yep.
Jared Goff and even Paxton Lynch in Denver, being
Yeah,
picked up.
Paxton. That was a really interesting pick. I remember we were sitting there watching the draft, and a buddy of mine goes, "Man, what's Denver going to do?" And I'm like, "They're going to pick Paxton Lynch." They're like, "No way, man!" And that's who they picked. I was pretty surprised. I laughed at that one. I called one pick at least right.
Yeah, I got out of all my with my predictions, I got two of them correct. But with Paxton, I think it's he goes into a good situation there in Denver. I was kind of surprised with Brock Osweiler actually leaving and going to Houston. They were just grabbing the money or
Yeah,
thinking it would be a better situation. It's just still surprising because with
yeah. I think Peyton Manning kind of might have froze that up a little bit because they still were waiting on the retirement and stuff like that, and I think they were trying not to step on some toes and be respectful, and I think that kind of bit him in the butt because they didn't do anything with Osweiler, and Osweiler's like, you know what, man, I can go get paid somewhere else. I can get paid real well. And why not? Because football's not a sport where you're going to have tomorrow. You might not have tomorrow. He can get in a car accident tomorrow. He could be first game in practice and blow his shoulder out or whatever. So I'm a mind of the philosophy that it's football. I love it. If I could play it, that'd be great. But as fans, we're fans. We don't get paid to play. It's a business for them. Yeah, they love the fans and and everything. And we love our Packers, but when a Packer leaves, we get all kind of butthurt that, well, why would you leave the Packers? And it's like, man, he's got to get paid. You don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. You got to get paid. And some guys take pay cuts to stay because they know, Cobb took a little bit of a pay cut, but he was also still getting paid really, really well. He wasn't like he was taking $100 million pay cut. He was taking
Right.
a couple of million, which is a lot of money. But when you're getting paid 30 million, 40 million, what's a couple to stay with Aaron Rodgers instead of going to a no-name quarterback that you can't trust? So, um, I don't know. I guess time will tell.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like it's a bad situation there in Houston. I mean, they pick up two wide
Yeah,
receivers. There, and I think especially Braxton Miller, but Will Fuller
yeah,
being their first round pick, I think with Brock Osweiler, I think that team could turn it around as well. They lost on,
yeah.
or they let Andre Johnson go 2 years ago, and now trying to pick up their team at least in the wide receiver core since then, and now getting the quarterback
Yeah.
rock and
I mean,
everything.
if I had to choose, I probably would have stayed with Denver. They have a defense that's firing on all cylinders right now. So,
True.
which you can have a poor. I mean, look at Peyton Manning's performance in the Super Bowl. I mean, we could have had It looks like you had an 18-year-old kid in there slinging Nerf balls, and they still would have won the game because of the defense. So I don't know. But hey, he did what he did. He got paid. He's gonna either reap the benefits or he's gonna be sad he left. I guess. So
That's really else. I mean, any other thoughts with the draft or anything NFL news that
Carson Wentz, cover of Sports Illustrated
yeah, I saw that.
this week. I mean, again, not that I really care too much, but I thought that was interesting how the number 2 pick went on Sports Illustrated, not the number 1 pick. I mean, Carson Wentz is a little more interesting story coming from a D3 type school, winning 5 championships in a row and that kind of thing. A little more fun story, Midwest kid and humble and all that. But I thought that was kind of interesting how the number 2 pick got on the cover of Sports Illustrated.
Then along with him being drafted to the Philadelphia Eagles and their fan base and their situation, I think maybe builds
Yep.
for the better story. All of it
Yeah,
did.
which I see that. I mean, it's all about selling copies, but still kind of funny how the number 1 guy going to Glitz and Glam LA isn't the guy at the cover of the magazine.
He'll be on the cover of enough magazines. I think he
Yeah,
can he can let someone else take over for the Sports
that's
Illustrated.
true. He's gonna be on cover of every sports magazine in Los Angeles. So
Or even more than that, probably even tabloid magazines as well. You never
oh
know.
yeah,
But you're living in LA,
that's funny. Yeah.
they'll do their due diligence.
Oh yeah.
Oh, hmm. I was gonna say, Johnny Manziel. Did you hear about the update of his situation?
His I think the last thing I read, which I'm getting really sick of this guy. It's kind of like Donald Trump. He gets more publicity than we should give him, but I think he got banned. He got like barred from seeing the girl in the domestic dispute or something. It's like what a loser. Just God, man, he got paid and now he just gets to be a party boy and do everything wrong and get a slap on the wrist.
Yeah, and then he gave himself or whatever. Now he's might be going to jail for a situation. And Drew Rosenhaus getting rid of him. I was talking about earlier how it's an interesting situation from my point of view, my thought process. It's easier or you see it more where the player gets rid of the agent than the agent gets rid of the player, because the agent can deal with the player no matter how much of a mess up basket case that player might be, because his job is to spin anything and try to get this player money for himself and yada yada. As long as he thinks the player is valuable um, to him and his brand, or the agent's brand.
Yep.
But it's a player than dropping the agent, because that's more common to me and seeing, because the player doesn't think the agent has his best frame of mind and all this other stuff. So
Yep.
I think that me hearing about that made me think that maybe this situation with Johnny is a lot worse than we're led to believe. And now, after everything else that we've read and heard about and going on,
What a nightmare. I mean, you imagine just dealing with him like, hey man, like sit at home and do nothing for a week, please. And then he goes out partying every night and gets pictures of him and punches people and does that. It's like I would have a coronary just thinking about it. Like I wouldn't want to be associated with that guy. Like, oh, who's your agent? I'd be like, please don't say my name anymore. I'm done. Like it's like kicking an 18-year-old out of your house after they just won't stop partying all the time. Like it's just whatever. Man, I can imagine. I feel bad for that agent. I mean, he thought he's got the number. He got some guy who got paid in the draft. He was on to something big, a quarterback, and then holy nightmare, just a snowball of insanity.
and the agent being individual that he is, Drew Rosenhaus, who was his agent, um, and him being how he was, you thought maybe that would be a great matchup with Rosenhaus and Manziel with their personalities, so to speak, and shark mentality. But you just for even him for a guy like Rosenhaus to drop Manziel really shows the dire situation
Yep.
of Manziel. I mean, hopefully he learns from it, but from his past, it doesn't seem like he ever will.
No,
And that's the
I
sad part about it too.
he'll either disappear or he'll be on a ESPN 30 for 30 spot in 5-10 years. So
Yeah, he'll be like what's that? Demarcus Russell.
yep, yep, the quarterback that came in hot and fizzled before he ever got lit. So
Just it's just sad, And what was it, Josh Gordon as well, having a situation there as well as Cleveland with his own issues. Um,
Cleveland is cursed. Ooh, oh man, nobody wants to go there. Holy buckets.
and Blackman, in Jacksonville.
Well, I mean, think about Carson Wentz and Jared Goff. They had a possibility at one point to go, oh man, we might go to the Browns. Like, oh, and all of a sudden they're trading out and they're going, oh wow. I mean, yeah, you're going to the Eagles, whatever. Maybe they don't want to go there, but I'd pick about any other team over the Browns right now if I had to choose a team. Just the way the management style, the people getting fired, all the issues with players. It's like, is that place cursed like a Madden curse in a football team?
Yeah, those top two picks could have went to Tennessee and Cleveland. So
Yep,
now going to Los Angeles and Philadelphia, is a lot better
pretty interesting. A lot of
situation.
trades this draft. It was cool.
Yeah, and even a lot of trades in the second round as well,
Yeah,
if not equal or more than they had in the first round. So it's definitely people trying to go up, get the players that they wanted and everything.
yep.
I know I saw a couple of Wisconsin Badgers got picked up after the draft. Um, so that was cool to see on my end.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh, and we got two players from Wisconsin, University of Wisconsin Stevens Point and University of Wisconsin Eau Claire, D3 schools that got picked up afterwards. The one from Eau Claire, I think, went to the Colts, I believe, and the one from Stevens Point went to the Saints, if I remember correctly. I'm getting picked up, so that's kind of a little Wisconsin sports news there for those two players. Because I know my friend, he went to the University of Oshkosh and he played football for a couple of years, but had to stop that for different reasons. So that was kind of cool to see them getting picked up. Um, but
I think my phone's about to die, Hanya, so I might have to cut out on it. I got about 2% left. So
oh, hey, thanks for stopping by at all. Any last comments? Thanks to John stopping by, be on the show, even taking any time out of his day to be with me here on this show, especially this episode, talking the NFL draft, him giving his thoughts to the Packers picks and other picks as well. I think I'm going to be done for the evening. I think those that watch live and will be watching archived, welcome to leave a like, share on Twitter. It's the best place to share. You know, share on Twitter, share to whatever. Subscribe to the channel because if you subscribe, you can get emails each and every time that I go live with an episode, whether it's Talking Packers with Steve, Steve's Rushing Ramble, or any other video that I do. So as always, take care.